So in this video, I wanted to do a bit more reading. Because when it comes to the generational defining players of the 2000s and the 2010s, we have ourselves guys that I think we definitely need to be talking about. Now, we already did make a video going over Sidney Crosby, as well as Connor McDavid. We spoke about both of these guys in a commentary a few days ago, but now we're going over some other talking points, some other discussions that relate to the Crosby and McDavid conversation, because both of these guys are in pretty interesting spots with their hockey teams. Sid the Kid is signed on till 2027 at $8.7 million a year, and rumors have been going out there like crazy about whether or not he will get traded. Connor McDavid, on the other hand, is signed on till the end of 2026, and he's making $12.5 million a year. He was the highest paid NHL player for a while. He'll definitely be the highest paid player once he gets his contract extension. But here's the question. Is a contract extension coming? Or is there a chance that it's a brand new contract with a new team? That is what we will dive into today, because Connor McDavid has not signed an extension, Sidney Crosby is still a Penguin, and the Penguins are kind of toast, so where exactly are we going to go with this? So let's go over onto an article published on NHLTradeTalk.com by Jim Parsons that goes over the latest in Sidney Crosby trade talk speculation, and how it actually goes beyond speculation. Quote-unquote, ready to chase the cup elsewhere. On a recent episode of the Fan Pre-Game podcast, NHL analyst Jason Bucala shared his take on the conversation surrounding the NHL superstar. Crosby is still an elite talent, and Pittsburgh is not going to be very good for a long time, Bucala said bluntly. He is going to age out of that roster and go win somewhere else. That's what I think. Okay, so Jason Bucala straight up laying it on the line, no sugarcoating around it. Crosby's going to age out of the Penguins roster and win somewhere else. Interesting prediction, not a unique one. Bucala's comments aren't new. In fact, despite Crosby's consistent messaging that he's not looking to leave, the Crosby trade is discussed so frequently that fans and insiders are starting to suggest those who keep bringing it up are being disrespectful. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but who was it? Was it like Josh Yohei, I think? Somebody like that? I forgot, but it was a while ago. We did see some discourse about how, hey, you're being disrespectful by bringing up Sidney Crosby trade rumors. However, Chris Johnston of the SDPN podcast said, every single person in hockey is having discussions about this guy. It is absolutely the elephant in the room. So, where does this article go? It continues to acknowledge the existence of Crosby trade rumors and how he has wanted to stay in Pittsburgh. He's made it clear he wants to retire in Pittsburgh. Despite this, though, insiders around the league are increasingly vocal about the conversations happening behind the scenes. Chris Johnston says it would be naive to think Crosby hasn't given it some thought. Frank Saravalli has reported that Crosby might have a short list of potential landing spots. Nick Kyprios has hinted at similar rumblings in his off-season trade coverage, and Jason Bucala isn't alone in suggesting that sentimentality may not be enough to override Crosby's hunger for one last serious cup run. He's still producing a lot. He's still very, very good. He still has some friends on the team. Among them is Evgeny Malkin, who has reportedly been told this is his final season with the Penguins. Sentimentally, Crosby is going to want to be in Pittsburgh to the end of Malkin's career, Bucala noted, but I don't know that that's going to be a reality. Malkin, 39 next season, is entering the final year of his contract with retirement looming. Insiders insist the conversation about a trade is not only valid, it's already happening. Perhaps the question isn't if he'll leave, but when. And so I wanted to highlight this just because it goes over some of the latest and just kind of encapsulates everything together, how Sidney Crosby trade rumors are getting real, and how even though this guy has repeatedly said he wants to stay in Pittsburgh, it's almost like there is an underlying idea amongst all the insiders that are not from Pittsburgh saying that this guy could be on his way out inevitably. Maybe not even next season, but maybe at some point this year. Nick Kiprio said after the Olympics, Crosby will get traded. There's an entire discussion to be had about that. But shifting gears from one generational superstar to another, let's talk about Connor Mac as well, because another piece on NHLTradeTalk.com goes out there and asks the question as to whether or not Connor McDavid's contract situation is all that unique. Both pieces will be linked in the description for your reading pleasure, and this article has a very interesting premise to it too. Connor McDavid's contract situation feels massive to Oilers fans, but it's not all that unique to what several other teams are experiencing right now. The Oilers are waiting on McDavid to be ready to talk about his extension, and they're eager to sign him to a new deal. However, teams like Vegas, Winnipeg, New York, and Minnesota have their own franchise guys holding the cards. McDavid is certainly not the only one who could theoretically walk away and leave a franchise in disarray. Now, what exactly does this article mean? Well, it says here, the crop of pending UFAs in 2026 is perhaps the most intriguing and impactful in years. Jack Eichel has not signed with the Golden Knights. Kirill Kaprizov hasn't inked an extension with the Wild. It's hard to know what's going on with Panarin. Will Kyle Connor stay in Winnipeg? These are franchise-altering talents in their own right. McDavid's status amplifies the anxiety in Edmonton, but he's following the same timeline as the rest of the league's top pending UFAs. And perhaps, unlike some of the other UFAs on a very solid list, he's already made it public he sees no issue signing with the Oilers if they can win over and over again. That should be reassuring to some fans, even if it isn't. The thesis of this argument is that essentially, you can panic all you want about Connor McDavid not having a contract for next season. Not next season, for the season after next season. You can panic about him not having that extension even though he's been eligible to sign it. But the fact of the matter is, this guy wants to be proven that the Edmonton Oilers can win, and he wants to sign with a team that can win. Fortunately or unfortunately, the Oilers have been doing a lot of winning. I mean, they won the Western Conference twice in a row after all. But winning the gosh darn Stanley Cup, that is the task. Leon Draisaitl's already signed on long term. Connor McDavid, he needs to be proven that not only can the Oilers figure out their goaltending, but they could also figure out how to get over the hump that is the Florida Panthers. If not, I think there is a reasonable idea that says, hey, if Connor Mac thinks that he has a better chance of making the finals over and over again and winning with another team that has better goaltending, that has more consistency in that regard, then maybe it is possible he tests the waters. Maybe it is possible he goes to free agency. Who knows? But ultimately, this idea is very fair too, that it's not really unique. There are other guys, Panarin, Kaprizov, Kyle Connor, Jack Eichel even, the second overall pick taken behind Connor Mac in the 2015 NHL Draft, that do need contracts as well. So I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. How do you feel firstly about Sidney Crosby trade rumors at this stage of the summer? And are you worried about Connor McDavid? Is there genuine fear in this situation? Let me know your thoughts. Both articles will be linked in the description if you want to go out there and read these pieces yourself. But Crosby, Connor Mac, what are your thoughts on these dudes and their futures? Let me know in the comments. What do you think? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.